Rick, it's been more than 15 years since the accident and the rescue. Why did you feel now is the right time to tell the story?
I think had we told the story in the immediate aftermath of the accident, there would have been a lot of raw emotions, but there wouldn't be a lot of perspective. And I think that the time has allowed perspectives to be formed. Nick to um, recover to the extent that someone can ever recover from this kind of a situation. The family members to look back. Um, their lives have gone on and things have evolved, and they can look back at how fortunate they were and how much sacrifice was made by those that lost their lives, as well as the Coast Guard. Has had many search and rescue missions since Nick's rescue. But they'll be the first one to tell you, and this we talk about this in the documentary. Um, to this day, that particular search and rescue effort is still their gold standard for never giving up hope, for believing against all odds that their job is important and that they can save lives. And they are so very proud of this. It's part of their training when you come into the United States Coast Guard now. They cite this as the case in which um, common sense would tell you that there's no way somebody could survive that. And it would be easy for them to just give up after a certain amount of time, and they didn't do that. And they are the real heroes of this story. Nick is a survivor, but the Coast Guard members who risked their lives to go out on boats, in airplanes and helicopters, as Stephen said, in the storm of the century, refusing to give in. And as a result of their heroism, Nick was found alive. And so I think that the 15 years has given everybody a real perspective on all of that. And hopefully it's also allowed some wounds to heal for some of the other family members and so on. Um, it just would have been too soon, too quick to tell this story earlier than telling it now.
And how much convincing was there with Nick? Was he willing to participate, or Rick, did you have to?
He was, we always talked about making a film. The book was um, it was such a well-read book and well-reviewed book that we knew that there was a high degree of likelihood that it would evolve into some sort of film. And it's been a long journey with both projects. I think that Nick was always willing, but not eager, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Having to relive this, it's easier for him, I believe, in the feature film because you can disassociate yourself from the well-known actor, in our case, Zachary Levi, who plays him in Not Without Hope. But when you have to sit down for a documentary where you're on camera and you're telling the story again in first person, that was not easy. And he was always willing, but he was never eager. And as we got close to the filming and the start date of this, I think there was some dread on his part because you're having to go back and relive something that was the most, horrific experience of your life.
Stephen, your view on working with Nick?
Um, I think he was remarkably, I would actually say the entire family was remarkably open. I think they made the decision they're going to make this film, and once they made that decision collectively, by the time it got to me, they had committed to it, and no question was going to be too hard. There was I didn't have to soft pedal anything. I could really, the way the audience would connect with it would be for me to ask the really difficult emotional questions, and they all understood that, and that's what we did. And There was no point where Nick did not want to answer a question or did not tell a story in all of its excruciating horror.